Hello and welcome to the hike. This time around is kind of a weird one. I present you the abandoned super mansion of the man who was once in charge of my country. And here's the man himself, Todor Zhivkov. He ruled Bulgaria in one way or another for 35 years. Well, he actually ruled the People's Republic of Bulgaria, which was the name of the country at the time, acting as General Secretary of the Bulgarian Communist Party. The People's Republic of Bulgaria was a socialist republic from 1946 until 1990, ruled by the Bulgarian Communist Party. Okay, so what now? Is it a communism or socialism? Hey, you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I can totally see myself drinking my morning coffee here. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Alright, I'm starting to see it. This place was not bad at all. Where was I? Yeah, what was it back then actually? Communism or socialism? Well, the Communist Party was ruling, but the country was officially a socialist state or socialist republic because it was in the process of building socialism and progressing toward a communist society. If this makes any sense to you, I guess I'm happy for you. Okay, I'm just gonna continue from here. And this is the kitchen of the mansion, or whatever is left of it. What a mess. Now, please remember this door. I'll go through it later at this time when I'll be exploring the basement, and from there eventually reach the upper floors. And now let's check what's left of the kitchen. We have some electrical switches, some ovens, actually several of them. Why would you need so many of them? I guess that's where they were making all those frozen pizzas back in the day. The windows are all broken, the whole place was completely trashed over the years. It's almost a piece of art by now. Here's an old elevator shaft. I wonder when's the last time it was operational. That's the toilet of the kitchen staff probably. And here's the fridge where all those frozen pizzas were stored. I thought it's gonna be bigger than that for some reason. Some storage shelves, and that's the kitchen pretty much. Totally trashed. A lot of stuff is still there, but nothing really that would still work. Alright, let's go on with the first floor or the ground floor. I'm not sure exactly which it's supposed to be. There is like a lot of dirt on the floor. I have no idea why. I think there was like a fire probably, and that's the leftover from whatever was burning. Most likely the furniture. But I can't verify that, it's just a guess. The mansion was built from 1973 to 1977, originally as a spa location for all the great people of the ruling Communist Party. You know, they needed a nice place to go and relax after having to make so many heavy decisions. I mean, it's not easy to rule a country after all. But you see, the place was built secretly, away from the public eye. They didn't want to be known how much money were used for it, and believe me, this place cost a fortune. Actually, multiple fortunes. The Communist Party could do that because they pretty much owned the country. The funny thing is, there were parliamentary elections every 4 to 5 years. There was only one choice, only one political party you can vote for. But still, the elections were being made. And the Communist Party was winning every time. Let's say impressively, with nearly 100% of the vote. But never with 100%, because that would be sketchy, right? We have to pretend at least it's some sort of kind of real election. Once the mansion was finished, Mr. Zhivkov liked it so much he took it for himself, ignoring the original idea of the powerful party people to use it. To be able to do something like that means he did have a lot of power concentrated in himself after all. Mr. Zhivkov was the front and center of the Communist Party, the face everybody knew and feared. But it was the Communist Party that was actually ruling the country. Right now I am above the swimming pool. You can see some very impressive woodwork that remained mostly in good shape compared to everything else in the mansion. And you can see how the swimming pool looks like. All the windows are broken as everywhere else. I'll go down and have a closer look at the swimming pool later. I'm really impressed by these wood panels. I don't know if it's the lighting right now or what, but they really look nice. And we continue to explore this open space, this empty open space. I couldn't really find information what it was used for. It's some sort of balcony, a really huge open space. There may be some columns missing from back then, kind of hard to imagine how it looked like exactly. The trees are new additions to the picture. Nature is taking back the place day by day, year after year. Maybe on a nice sunny day there were like beach chairs and umbrellas around. I don't know. Do communist leaders like to chill out in the sun like the rest of us? And here's the swimming pool again, this time from the side. If you visit this place in the summer, the swimming pool will be completely covered by the bush. By the way, if you happen to be nearby, you can absolutely visit this place. Here are the coordinates. You don't have to pause the video. I'll copy them to the description below. And when you have a look at the satellite image, there is a second smaller building exactly 100 meters away from the mansion. That's where the private security of Mr. Zhivkov was living, ready to protect him 24/7. Only after I recorded this hike I learned that there is a secret tunnel from the mansion to the security building, either for Mr. Zhivkov to escape from a dangerous situation or for the security to be able to reach the mansion quickly and quietly in case of emergency. This means I'll have to go back for sure someday to have a look at this secret tunnel. But if you really decide to come to this place and have a look yourself, I have to warn you that there is still a state of the art security. It's time to re-enter the mansion and make my way to the second floor to have a look on the upper rooms. You know, there isn't a single window that's not broken. It's really an accomplishment when you think about it. That's one of the upper rooms, all kind of graffiti and just all sorts of random stuff written and drawn on the walls. At least there was a nice view from up here. course, more nonsense on the walls. This is the second thing. The first one is all windows are broken. The second, there's not a single clean wall left. And the state of the floor is, well, you can see that for yourself. Not a single clean wall. All the furniture on the second floor was either stolen or destroyed, or burnt and destroyed. None is left. I mean, I guess there was some kind of furniture on the second floor as well. Only one man was living here for nearly 20 years, but still I would think these rooms were not completely empty. Check out the ceiling. I can't decide if there was a fire or a flood. It could be either really. It looks burnt but kind of decomposed by water and humidity at the same time. If there was a fire, why didn't the mansion burn completely? Back to the first floor with the dirt all over it. This mansion is completely abandoned since around the year 2000. So it's been 25 years and there was a lot of violent activity in this period. The evidence is everywhere. Even the elevators didn't survive. Okay, let's go once again to the second floor, but this time the area above the kitchen. Do you see this very fashionable bathtub outside? It used to be over here, but somehow was displaced. Don't you hate when that happens? And here the remains of a rather nice fireplace. That's like the second open space of the mansion. It's about time to have some instant noodles and coffee, and I think I'll find a good spot here. There's no way I'm having the noodles somewhere inside, just no way. Besides, it's really a nice day to cook outside. Interesting. That's like a built-in barbecue grill or something like that. It looks like it, but you would think if there was anything like that around, it would be just as ridiculously big and stupid like the rest of the mansion. Is that a cat on the wall? Waking up from sleep? Talk about weird graffiti. This might be in the top 5. Yeah, this place will do. I'm having the noodles here. Check out the view. I can see most of the mansion from here. And that's important. It's always good to have a nice view while eating. Check out these little snowdrop flowers. I guess you can find something beautiful growing even in the most horrible places. There is a ladder leading up to the roof. While I was doing my research on the mansion, that's one of the places I wanted to have a look at. But this ladder is barely hanging on one single point. It's probably enough to support my weight, but I'm not going to test it. Luckily, my Insta stick is long enough to reach the roof, so we can have a look. Yeah, nothing interesting. Definitely not worth testing the ladder. Alright, time to make some instant noodles. This time I have the beef noodles from Maggi. If you've seen some of the other hikes on the channel, you probably know I would usually have one of these bigger packs of noodles, or ramen with me. You know which I mean. One of these packs is like a proper meal. Yesterday I went to the store to buy one of them bigger packs, but to my surprise there weren't any. The one time I really needed one, there were none. So I had to settle for the Maggi noodles this time. They are not bad or anything, I just prefer the bigger packs. They feel more premium, more fancy. You don't really need to cook the Maggi noodles, you can just add some hot water and wait a couple of minutes and they're basically done. But I'm going to cook them today because I have the time and let's say they will taste a bit better like that. I got 2 packs because they are obviously smaller than what I usually eat, so it will take 2 of them to charge my body. And to make the meal better, I'll add some Spanish sardines in tomato sauce. I find this combination really good. You have the fish with all the fats and proteins, and then you have the noodles with the carbs. It's an easy meal, doesn't take too much time to prepare, just the perfect combo on the go. I got 2 packs today, one cappuccino and a 3-in-1. I think I'll have the 3-in-1, not really in a mood for cappuccino right now. I'm breaking the noodles so they can cook more efficiently and faster. Each pack has one of these soup powder mixes. I'll use only one because I'll add the sardines later. Have a look how my chopsticks turned out. I'm actually really proud of them. You can eat the Maggi noodles as they are, almost kind of like eating chips. Almost. I'm always so happy when I'm making coffee. I mean that exact moment, just before drinking it. It doesn't even have to be a very good coffee drink. It could be a pack of cheap instant bullshit like that, and I'm still really excited for it. But when I drink it all later and see the empty cup in front of me, that really breaks my heart. Every single time. Alright, my body battery is once again full. Noodles and coffee just does it for me. It's all I need. Time to pack and move on. I don't like to leave any trash behind, even on places like this one, where it probably doesn't really matter. But I just can't help myself. It's a part of my hiking culture. I just try to leave the place as if I wasn't there at all. Plenty more automation to explore, let's go! On the left is that bathtub once again. The same one I saw earlier through a hole in the wall, if you remember. And a little pool or a fountain full with all kind of trash. A nice piece of graffiti art on the wall. I don't really know anything about graffitis, but this one is nice. Heading now to the swimming pool. Let's go back to Mr. Todor Zhivkov. I told you already he ruled the People's Republic of Bulgaria for 35 years. To give you a reference for this period, here's a table with the longest so-called serving leaders of the Eastern Bloc. Mr. Zhivkov's 35 years are enough to give him the third place in this incredibly prestigious ranking. His longevity is credited mainly to his excellent relation with the USSR. Back in 1954, 1 year after Joseph Stalin's death, the process of de-Stalinization was beginning in the Soviet Union. Mr. Zhivkov used the opportunity and took power from his predecessor, Stalinist supporter Volko Chervenkov. Mr. Zhivkov himself implemented de-Stalinization reforms in the People's Republic of Bulgaria, like renaming Mount Stalin and the city of Stalin back to their previous names. Mr. Zhivkov's general policy during his rule was largely dictated by whatever policy the Soviet Union had at the time. The People's Republic of Bulgaria was already a member of Comecon since 1949. Comecon was an economic organization led by the Soviets. Okay, I'm just in front of the swimming pool now. This must be the heating pipes below the pool. I don't see any entrance from that side. I think I have to reach this bridge above me that is connecting the building and the pool. I'm not sure what was the purpose of this building. There are like many small one-room apartments. Maybe the service was living here? I can imagine that a lot of people were needed to maintain the mansion in top shape. And many of these people had to be available 24/7, so maybe that's where they were living. So, the People's Republic of Bulgaria entered the Warsaw Pact in 1955, the communist equivalent of NATO during the Cold War. As you can imagine, the country was extremely dependent on the Soviet Union, being by far its biggest importer and exporter. Pretty much everything was financed by credits from Soviet banks. Mr. Zhivkov himself proposed in 1963 that the People's Republic of Bulgaria joins the USSR. The country officially applied for membership, which was officially rejected by the Soviets. Nevertheless, Mr. Zhivkov's position as the de facto leader of the People's Republic of Bulgaria was directly supported by the Soviets. By eliminating any opposition within the Bulgarian Communist Party, which Mr. Zhivkov faced occasionally. In exchange, the Soviets had Mr. Zhivkov's support for their international policies like the invasion of Czechoslovakia during the Prague Spring or the Soviet-Afghan War in the 80s. Finally, the swimming pool. I told you the mansion was built way back in the 70s, and having a private swimming pool in the 70s in communist Bulgaria, this is like science fiction. There were only a few public swimming pools in general, but we are talking about a private swimming pool. Private swimming pool. So this swimming pool was filled with nice hot mineral water for which this whole area is known for. Only the best for the almighty comrade. The content of the pool nowadays is the most random shit you can get. You could say there is still some water after all, but you have to stay away from it as far as you can. Some rope is hanging from the ceiling. I have no idea what was its purpose, but it's still there, hanging. Another bathtub, but this one is still correctly positioned. But the shower is missing. Hey, this looks like a sauna. I bet Mr. Zhivkov was having a great time sweating all his problems away in here. This area was used for accounting, I think, because after Mr. Zhivkov, the mansion used to be something like a hotel for some time, and this is where they put the office space. There are still some papers left, must be nothing important. Just some magazines and old receipts. In 1973, Mr. Zhivkov tried once again to join the USSR, once again unsuccessfully. During the 70s, Mr. Zhivkov is exceptionally close with the Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev. As a matter of fact, in 1979, Mr. Brezhnev himself visited this mansion I'm hiking today. You could say that Mr. Brezhnev was the best friend of Mr. Zhivkov, but Mr. Zhivkov was just an associate of Mr. Brezhnev. Still, Mr. Brezhnev and the Soviets supported Mr. Zhivkov whenever special support was needed. Between 1975 and 1978, Bulgarian writer Georgy Markov, living in exile in London, was leading a campaign of heavy criticism against the communist government and Mr. Zhivkov in particular, who ordered Markov's assassination in 1978, most likely supported by the Soviet secret services, KGB. The prosperous 70s ended in 1982 when Mr. Brezhnev died. Losing his biggest ally, this was the beginning of the end for Mr. Zhivkov, who somehow remained in power for another 7 years. In 1984, Mr. Zhivkov started a forced assimilation policy toward the country's Muslim minority, which resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Muslim Bulgarians by 1989. This is, of course, not the only one, but for sure one of the major reasons behind the country's catastrophic demographic crisis. On my left is another dirty little pool, but in this one I saw a little frog. That's the biggest animal, and when I think about it, the only one I saw all day. Entering the garage. This entrance was most likely used for all deliveries and logistics for the mansion. And what do we have here? There's a car, or whatever is left of it. Wow! I'm not an expert or anything, but this car just needs a fresh paint and it's ready to go. Don't mind the missing engine. Actually, this beauty was ahead of its time. Electric cars don't have a combustion engine. Maybe this car is an electric car. Some more papers, and that's a menu. There's chicken, fish, steaks. Sounds pretty good. Right now I'm in the basement, below the kitchen. Hot and cold water pipes, still there. More papers and documents. What a nice manhole. And I am finally back in the kitchen. Time to go home and end this hike. Mr. Zhivkov was finally removed from power on the 17th of November 1989. 2 months later, the communist system itself was no more. There are different opinions what should happen to Mr. Zhivkov's former mansion. Some say it should be restored and saved. If you ask me, the whole place should be leveled, cleaned, and turned to a forest, like the one it used to be so many years ago.